Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today I'm gonna be testing Hitman Blood Money Reprisal on the Nintendo Switch. So this game was shadow dropped on the Switch and mobile, and it's my favorite Hitman game because you can do this. So one of my most favorite games of all time. I played it on PlayStation 2, then on PC, but going back to it on those versions, it didn't hold up so great, especially when it comes to controls. So what did Feral Interactive do? Well, first they added a color correction option, which I think on looks similar to the original. Disable looks too flat, I would say. And there's also an FOV slider, which is an interesting addition in a third-person game. And in controls, you have the classic controls or the new controls, which I recommend this one. The enhanced camera makes a huge difference when playing this game. There's even motion controls, but I'm not going to use them. So what about performance? Well, I have bad news. It's 30 FPS, but it looks pretty sharp. I think it's 1080p. But unfortunately, yeah, it's 30 frames per second. And that's a disappointment because, again, yeah, it came for the PlayStation 3 360, but also there's a PS2 version that is basically this. But the enhancements to the game itself, the camera at the bottom left, the controls, the UI, make it a whole lot better. But luckily we can make it 60, so for the FPS locker, make sure you have the patch file, because otherwise this game will stay locked at 30 FPS, so we increase the frame rate without an overclock, and we get 40 FPS, so we're nowhere close to 60 in dock mode. So let's do an overclock. We're going to do this overclock. Should be doable for most Nintendo Switches out there. And how's the frame rate? And we get 60 FPS, way smoother. I don't think this game requires 60s to be enjoyable, but I mean, considering the age of the game, it's so weird that they couldn't get it to run at 60 on the Switch, even in dock mode. Maybe they sacrificed resolution or something. I don't know. Let's set this freeze case over here. And let's do the classic. We're going to put them to sleep. But I think the controls are the best improvement in the game so far. It controls so much better than the original. It's kind of ridiculous. Although the shadow quality is a little bit low, but whatever. Unlike this, you can play at 60 FPS in docked. In handheld, we can also reach 60 with an overclock, but battery life will be affected. It's all up to you at that point. Man, I played this mission so many times. It's ridiculous. And the fact that I didn't know about this, being a huge fan of the game, that a month and something ago this dropped on the Switch and on mobile, is a crime. If you're a fan of Hitman, you should play this one. Without a doubt. It's like the chaos theory of the Hitman franchise. So the Splinter Cell chaos theory of the Hitman franchise, yeah. It's ridiculously good. Although the newer ones, I think, are also wonderful, especially Hitman 1, 2, and 3. Those are I think go back to this classic style of being a good Hitman game. Okay, some drops here. So it drops into the 50s in certain occasions. Yeah, when we're going through the door and there is like a change in the color, the exposure. Yeah, that's when it drops. But you can clearly notice that the skybox is a 2D file, just pasted on there. But still, legendary game. And you can play it mostly at 60, as you could see now, especially on docked, but you need an overclock. So I think it's time to show you handheld, because on the smaller screen, it's even sweeter than this. So, one sec. I unlocked the frame rate on handheld with the overclock, and as you can see, the CPU sometimes doesn't apply the overclock. That's because the game when it shows the picture-in-picture view, as you are seeing now at the top left corner, it overclocks the CPU to 1785 MHz, which is what usually Nintendo does in loading screens for example, Breath of the Wild, and that overrides the overclock for the CPU. You can fix that using custom config file.
God, do I need a drink?
But I mean, overall, completely fine. The game's still 60 FPS. Come on, die. Okay. I got him. I'm now a patient of this institute. But I cannot drag him. There we go. Gotta move fast. But as you can see with the overclock, it's like 3 hours of battery, which again is 2 hours less than it should be. But again, it's 3 hours. I can probably finish 4 levels with that time. And it's a travesty that this game wasn't really this reprisal of the game marketed a lot, because it's a fantastic game still to this day. Even the newer Hitman games take elements from this one. I think, again, this was peak Hitman. It's like, yeah, I mean, no way around it. It's one of the best versions of one of the best games in the franchise. And now the controls are better. You got a better camera. The minimap is also improved quite significantly. But especially the controls, that's what gets me. The controls are so much better, it's kind of crazy. Hopefully they don't see me. Okay. Yeah, I had to wait for her to turn her. There we go. Move. Move, 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 move. And this guy in here, I need to explode, make him explode. That's not going to happen yet because he's in there. But if you go to the pause menu, you can see all the characters and where they are, like in the original. But now you have a real-time view at the bottom left corner, which makes a huge difference. It feels much more like a modern game, which is what we wanted. And interacting with things is way easier than before. So again, that's always a big plus. And I played this level so many times. It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, this guy, for example, has hidden drinks inside of this globe. You can either poison the drink or explode the chandelier. Which is what I'm exactly going to do. So now when nobody's watching, I'm going to drop it in his head. Also, one other thing you're going to notice, it drops to 30 sometimes when going into the inventory, but it's hard to notice. Okay, I wait for him to get up and get a drink. And he'll be reduced to atoms. But in the meantime, again, as I said before, you don't need 6 FPS for this to be a good playing game. If you want lots of hours, well, keep it at 30. It's good enough. Boom, dead. Reduced to atoms. I did it. So yeah, oh no, I cannot believe what happened. Yeah, I don't know who it was. Please help. So yeah, never gets old. Fantastic game. Highly recommended. There's some mini loading screens sometimes. But we should be good. Okay, they found the body. Yeah, no way they weren't. It was an accident. I had nothing to do with it. But man, having this on Switch, I almost pull out an all-nighter playing this. Such a great game. I don't know how that guard saw me, but that's okay. We'll take care of him. Freak you. You too. You're going with him. And he didn't even notice. There we go. Electrocuted. Now I have the keys. And I can take that disguise. Thank you very much. And let's go save the Agent Smith. Yeah. He's literally called Agent Smith. And man, as a kid, so many hours trying to get here. What are you doing? So yeah, we're saving him. I think it's time to jump into another level. But it works perfectly fine at 60. At least 99% of the time. We're doing the mission that has a big crowd. And as you can see, the cinematics are not the greatest quality. They're still pretty low res. But the most impressive part, at least when I played this on the PS2, was seeing this big crowd of people that, if you see it nowadays, doesn't feel that impressive. They're pretty dumb. And they're pretty repeated models. But I mean, for the era, especially for the PlayStation 2, it was huge, at least in my opinion. So yeah. This level is also legendary, although it's not my favorite. Oh, another feature that is new is that the game tells you when you are trespassing, which in the original was not obvious. So that's a big plus. I mean, here it'll say trespassing. At the bottom left you can see it. Trespassing, there we go. Which again wasn't obvious in the original, so it's a huge improvement for me, because sometimes you don't know in which places you could or could not be. And that could be frustrating. Well, not anymore. AI is still a little bit dumb. Okay, track body. But I mean, if you have no access even to a Nintendo Switch, you have the mobile version that is basically this, but depending on your phone's screen. And I mean, it's nice, but you need a controller to play this. Don't play this with touch controls. Do yourself a favor. Let's get to the target. Hey, target! How's it going? Can I push him off the edge? He's watching me. Come on. Oh, really? Well, at least I can show the shooting now. Okay, reduce 2 atoms. They still have those feathers effect when shooting those bird people. And as you can see at 60, whoa, that was a great shot. And you can see even at 60, when targeting 60, you can still play just fine. Sometimes it drops when you open this menu. But overall, completely fine. Again, what a legendary game. And now just to F around, let's play with the crowds a little. And as you can see, they're pretty dumb. But it was more of an illusion than anything else. Which again, for that era, was pretty impressive. So yeah, Hitman Blood Money Reprisal on the Switch. Fantastic game. I recommend it to everyone, especially if you're a fan of Hitman, even if you already played it back then on the PS3, on the PC. The controls are way better. Now we got quality of life stuff. And what to say about that? Well, it's usually pretty cheap with discounts. Even on mobile, you can get it for cheap. I think it's 20 bucks. And motion controls also work well, but I'm not a huge motion control guy. So if you haven't played it, please do. And if you have played it, play it again with the new controls and features that says trespassing and all that. The quality of life makes it all worth revisiting. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see ya next time. Bye guys. Thanks for watching.